I'm Anna Vagan, and today I want to talk to you about my new product, Conversation Paths Pack. The point of Conversation Paths is to give students a semi-structured way to practice conversation. There are lots of components, and sometimes our students will gravitate toward using one, perhaps talking about their interest, more than asking questions about the other person, and we want to give them practice in that. Conversation paths are appropriate for students who have social learning challenges, they might have speech and language delay, or they may just need a little bit more support to improve their conversational skills. They're generally in the range of 3rd through 12th grade, and it's helpful for them to be able to read the sample conversations, although a little bit of help is okay. These are the 8 building blocks of conversation paths: starters, questions, answers, pop-ins, comments, bridges, and then hi and bye. Let's look at what a path might consist of. Here is one of the beginning ones, and as you can see, we have these blue and green circles that you can move to assign students different roles. You can also do a search and replace to put in a student's name, let's say Joe as student 1, and maybe Robert as student 2. And then use these circles to assign students the role that they're going to take. So if it's set up like this, then student 1 would read the green, student 3 will read the blue. And they start just by reading the path the way the sample is written. Yesterday, I had lunch with my dad at In-N-Out. Student 1 would say, "Did you have fries?" And student 3 would answer, "Yep." So it's just an easy way to look at a model. The next slide, the students are asked to make their own, following the same path as the one in the sample they just read. And there are little cue cards to help them remember what makes up for starters, and in this example, what are good question forms. There are also practice tips for each of the conversational building blocks. Here's an example of the practice sheet for questions. Again, giving some suggestions and important things to keep in mind as students practice their question forms or whatever conversation building block they're working on. Let's look at a more complicated one. Here's a longer one, and it's also more complicated because it combines conversational blocks together. So after the answer, the blue example is a pop-in plus a question, or here at the end, it's a pop-in plus a bridge. So again, it's more complicated. The pattern, though, is the same. First, assign students to read the various colors. Then on the next slide, they have to make their own. Let's look at one of the last ones, a more complicated one. You can see here that the path is longer, there's more happening, but the format again is still the same. Read it and then practice it. Now, with all of this practice, our students are always going to want to take a break. And in conversation paths, we do that by watching a YouTube and having conversation in real time. Watch the YouTube the first time through, and then again, either turning the sound down or muting it. So students do a voiceover. Here's an example of what that screen looks like. This is Marissa the Stubborn Donkey. You can assign students a character to do the voiceover for, or you can always just do it as a group. It tends to be a lot of fun. Conversation Paths also includes some more YouTube suggestions for practicing conversation in real time. That's basically the program. If you have questions or comments, email me. Conversation Paths Pack is available on my website, socialtime.org, underneath the Shop drop-down menu. Thanks for listening.